Rapid City has been growing. It's been growing since I moved here in 1990, but after the 2020 pandemic, things really got crazy. How is Rapid City planning on keeping up with the growth? Hey everybody, I'm Tristan Emond with Mindful Living Realty, a realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota, the gateway to the Black Hills. I recently went to a housing study and area update put on by Elevate Rapid City, kind of our Chamber of Commerce here in town. Between 2018 and 2023, the Rapid City area, including like our surrounding towns of Box Elder, Blackhawk, and like down southwest Rapid City, we expanded about 5,000 people in those years. If you include our entire region that calculate, which is not only the Black Hills, but also east over to about to Wall, we had an increase of about 7,000 people during those time frames. They are projecting by 2030, we'll have an increase of 12,000 and 18,000 people in those two areas respectively. So while we've seen some growth in the past few years, we're definitely going to see even more in the next 5. Let's talk about how Rapid City is planning for this growth moving forward. By the way, everything I'm talking about here is actually a summary of my Rapid City Living new Instagram account. Check it out here and follow along as I talk about all the cool things that are happening in Rapid City. First of all, there's infrastructure. You know, the boring stuff like streets and roads and schools. Just a few months ago, the Shepherd Hills booster station was completed. This was built by the newer Shepherd Hills community that's being built right behind Menards. It was built to service about 3,000 customers in that area, but can also be expanded to northern Rapid City if necessary. This booster station can pump 5 million gallons of water a day and is essential for not only the pressure for the residents, but also emergency services such as those fire hydrants. Also in the works is the Rapid City Water Reclamation Facility upgrade. This is the largest infrastructure project to date that will be completed by 2028. This station is built to handle 40 million gallons of water a day, which is far greater than the 10 to 14 million gallons a day presently used. This new facility also replaces the old facility that was built in 1967, so we've got newer tech with better environmental controls. This is adding less ammonia into the environment and has less of an impact to the nature downstream. We also got to have a place to put our crap. The Rapid City landfill recently built a new cell which can handle 1 million cubic yards, which should handle the Rapid City area for the next 5 years. We're getting some electricity upgrades too. Black Hills Energy has recently began construction on a brand new 99 megawatt, why not 100 megawatt, I don't know, 99 megawatt gas-fired generator. This generator is retiring some of the older units and is considered dispatchable energy, which helps fill in the dry gaps to keep those lights on all the time. As much as we hate orange cone construction season in Rapid City, there's been plenty of good activity going around the area, fixing bridges, replacing streets, and making sure that at least the main roads are safe and easy to travel. In addition to this, as we'll talk about a little bit later more in detail, some of the new developments are also bringing in more roads and infrastructure as they're getting built. The Rapid City City Council also is working on a brand new comprehensive plan that will replace the one that was put together back in 2014. This is the plan that gives a blueprint for the growth of Rapid City, talking about what areas are neighborhoods, what areas are commercial areas, where the street should go, etc., etc. Plus, I mentioned schools, right? The Rapid City Area School District is working on a plan to repair or replace some older aging buildings that have been around since 1960 and are starting to show their signs of age, plus potentially add some air conditioning in some units and even building a few more schools where needed. On top of all of this, Rapid City is working on our safety. The mayor's office has been working very hard to increase the number of policemen we have on the streets. That number really declined after 2020 with all the drama that was going on. Not only is a brand new North Side Police Precinct in the works, the Rapid City Council also approved a 2.7% increase to the police department for the 2026 budget. This has got a big goal to add at least 12 police officers in the next year. The fire department is also getting its love with a brand new Fire Station 1 building that updated the old building that has been there forever. The fire department also got an increase in their budget for 2026, a nice 8.9% increase to help keep us safe.
And of course, I forgot to mention a couple of things going on. We've got the Rapid City Regional Airport expansion, which is going to be huge for our area, and a couple that aren't very fun to talk about, but are very important, and that is the building of a women's prison that will include 288 beds and relieve some of the overcrowding in the prison in Pierre, and the potential expansion of the Pennington County Prison near downtown, which is always full.
Another big segment that has seen a lot of improvement and changes this year is healthcare. Monument Health is the main provider in town and they have made some strides recently. They're currently building a brand new Mall Drive campus just east of the mall. This will be a freestanding emergency department with all the things that you need, including films, x-rays, CTs. In addition to this project, 2 brand new urgent care and primary care facilities have been opened, one in Box Elder and one in Rapid Valley just recently. They're also working on a women's and children's expansion that'll be attached to the current building on 5th Street. This will include an NICU expansion of 32 beds, a revamping of the labor and delivery areas. This will include new postpartum private and semi-private rooms and more family spaces to make it more comfortable for our mothers and children. Monument Health also partnered with Dakota Radiology, and they broke ground on an expansion to that building to be a better facility for all the imaging needs of our community. They've also gone to bat for us and brought in 31 new physicians, both primary care and specialty services, in the past year. This totals to 107 in the past 27 months. They've also added some specialties to make Rapid City the go-to place for healthcare. This includes cardiothoracic and vascular surgery, colorectal surgery, which is the first in Rapid City, and gynecologic oncology. But wait, there's more. In addition to all the things that Monument Health is doing, we're also getting some inroads from Sanford Health, which is the primary care system in Sioux Falls. The end of 2024, they bought the Black Hills Orthopedic Center and the Black Hills Surgical Center, and just recently announced the closing of the purchase of Creekside Medical Center. So we're getting more competition in town that will hopefully lower some prices. Finally, we're getting a brand new hospital just down the street from the new Monument Health Hospital, of course. It's called Exceptional Community Hospital and is expected to be open by late 2026. This will be a full emergency department with specialty services, an inpatient hospital, along with an on-site lab, imaging, and radiology. So by the end of 2026, instead of having just one choice for an emergency room in Rapid City, we will have 3. All right, let's talk about housing. Obviously, we need some more housing if we have people coming in. At this housing study that I went to, they talked about the number of units needed based upon their calculations of how many are coming, how many we have. By 2030, they're projecting we'll still need 3,772 units for owners, 1,160 rental units, for a total of about 5,000 units still needed to be built by 2030. And we're working on it. Since 2021, when the rental market was so tight, it was so hard to find an apartment to rent whatsoever, we've had an apartment building boom. In the past few years, there have been at least 15 brand new apartment building complexes built in our area. And this includes Block 5 downtown, which includes a number of loft spaces for rent and a Hyatt hotel. Single family homes are getting built as well. In the first half of 2025, there were 91 permits for a single-family property compared to 63 last year. In July of 2025, there were 29 single-family property permits being pulled, which is a 4-year high for a month. And fortunately, we're not sleeping on affordable housing either. Of those 91 permits pulled the first half of 2025, 50 of them were for affordable housing single-family properties. And finally, there's the retail and services sector. This past year, we've added Barnes & Noble, South Dakota company Trav's Outfitters, 3 new Starbucks, 1 in Rapid City and 2 in Box Elder. Local Mexican restaurant favorite Maquali is expected to expand into 2 locations in the next year. We've got a brand new Tostique. The old Albertsons building near downtown is being renovated into a bunch of individual spaces to include a smaller grocery store, some retail options, a restaurant option, and maybe even a gym fitness center. And next month, the 400-acre state-of-the-art shooting complex will be opened up North Rapid City. But the biggest news, and something that many people have been waiting for forever, is the announcement of Chick-fil-A coming to town. However, this is not without its controversy. South Dakota has a tool called Tax Increment Financing, or TIF, T-I-F. This is a financing program that allows the city to bring in a developer and help them with some of the development costs that are outrageously expensive, where otherwise a developer might be like, nope, too expensive, I'm not doing it. How this works very basically is, the county freezes the property tax rate at the current rate once the development begins. Over the next 20 years, as that property tax increases, that extra cash goes to the developer to help settle those costs for developing and getting things built. Generally speaking, these TIFs also include some infrastructure stuff, because as you're building developments, you're also adding roads, you're adding water, you're adding sewer, so this also helps expand the city in a certain direction by throwing all this together in one TIF. Currently, there are 3 development TIFs that have been approved by the Rapid City Council. There's the Marshall Heights TIF, the Catalyst District TIF, and the Liberty Land TIF. In the city of Rapid City, there are 5 reasons where you can use a TIF. The first one is to encourage the redevelopment of deteriorated or otherwise blighted real property. This is an example of the Marshall Heights TIF. The plan is to remove the hotel that currently sits there. That has been an old Ramada Inn at one point. It's changed names about 5 times. You barely ever see anybody there, even though it's a pretty big-sized motel. The second is to stimulate economic development in a community by assisting projects that promote the long-term economic viability of the community. The third, to stimulate increased private investment in areas that otherwise remained undeveloped or underdevelopment. A good example of this is the TIF used to build the Cabela's many years ago. That is an area that would have normally remained undeveloped, but because of the TIF, we could develop that Mall Drive north side area for future expansion. The fourth one is to stimulate the construction and sale of affordable housing units for low and moderate income residents and workers in the community. We've had a number of these projects go on in the past few years, and to facilitate the reconstruction, maintenance, and completion of the city's existing infrastructure network to support the existing growth and guide the future growth of the community. A perfect example of this is the Shepherd Hills booster station that I was just talking about. Not only is that the water booster station, it's also the roads to that area. Hopefully we'll get Anamosa Street to connect to Elkville Road at some point. Previous past successful TIFs have been the creation of Rushmore Crossing, who doesn't go to Target and all the shops there, and the building of the Black Hills Energy Headquarters, which of course is a strong workforce provider for our area. This Marshall Heights TIF is not only expected to bring Chick-fil-A, but also rumors of Chipotle, Panda Express, and a Les Schwab Tire Center. There's also one called the Catalyst District TIF. This is a brand new indoor sports center for our area, with youth sports being a huge driver of our area and a greater need to have a place for youth sports to play during the wintertime. This will be a huge economic impact for the area. There is another one, however, that the public is not having. This one is the Libertyland TIF. This includes the Libertyland theme park, theme resort, water park, campgrounds, housing development, plus event center. The plan for this would be north of 90, kind of across from where Rushmore Crossing is, and of course would include things such as creating more streets, widening streets, and updated storm sewers. However, local residents, especially those living near the area, didn't like the idea of having all that light pollution. Others just didn't like the idea of it, didn't figure that it was actually going to make it in our area, and figured, hey, let's not use a TIF on this project. So a petition was put out there, enough signatures were received, and this will go out to public vote either later this year or beginning of 2026, whether or not we'll move forward with this Libertyland TIF. The use of these TIFs have been pivotal in some of the great developments in our area, but others don't like it. They feel they've been used too much and too liberally and don't feel like we should give developers a break just to come to our area. I've had people comment how terrible it is that we're helping out these rich developers by giving them a tax break to come into the area. However, these developers coming in often hire local people to help build whatever building there are. There's local people used to build the streets and all the different infrastructure around. And then when these businesses get up and running, that's local jobs, that's people coming to it, spending their money, that's tax money for our area. My feeling on this is the local benefit far outweighs the need to feel good about sticking it to the man. The growth in Rapid City hasn't been ignored. We've got plenty of things happening to think about those future plans. We still got that new mission at Ellsworth Air Force Base that continues to bring people in. Black Hills continue to draw people in. Our health system continues to hire people. So I don't think we're going to see the growth trend stop anytime soon. Hopefully the city and the powers that be keep building Rapid City so it stays South Dakota. Come follow me on our Rapid City Living Instagram page. I'll put that link in the description below, or go ahead and scan this code right here. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day, and remember, love where you live.